Stephen King has conjured up some truly terrifying creatures, monsters, and places over the years, with the writer becoming one of the greatest, if not the greatest, horror novelist of all time. His characters are often beings of unimaginable evil that test the limits of our protagonists. Now, some of these characters are human, and some are supernatural entities with dark powers that can twist worlds into chaos. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 scariest monsters created by Stephen King. However, on this particular list I'm going to be keeping things fresh, as we so love to do over here on Top 5. So saying that, honourable mentions go out to Pennywise, Kurt Barlow and the Overlook Hotel. Also, before we begin, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in. Coming in at 5, Annie Wilkes from Misery.
This isn't what happened last week. Have you all got amnesia? They just cheated us. This isn't fair. He didn't get out of the cock-a-doodie car.
Annie Marie Wilkes Dugan is the main antagonist in the 1987 novel Misery, and perhaps one of the scariest characters to ever be created by Stephen King. In the 1990 film adaptation, Annie Wilkes was portrayed by Kathy Bates, a performance that garnered her an Academy Award win. Now, as we know, a whole lot of people want to be famous, or to at least be able to experience it for a short amount of time. I mean, the idea of having strangers recognize you, admire you, and want to take pictures with you can be incredibly appealing for some folks out there. However, to those people I say, have you ever seen or read Misery? I'm guessing not. On the surface, Annie Wilkes is caring, passionate, and the next door neighbor that would likely bake you cookies when you're having a bad day. However, we quickly learn this is not the case when our favorite author Paul Sheldon crashes his car and winds up in the home of Annie Wilkes. Wilkes becomes furious when she learns that Sheldon has killed off Misery, her favourite character in her favourite novel. So what does she do? She turns into a fairy godmother possessed by a demon, restrains him in her home, and breaks his ankles with a sledgehammer. It's brutal. She is perhaps one of the most cunning and devious characters in not just a Stephen King novel, but in all of literature. And what makes her truly terrifying is that she could be real. She is not Pennywise, a shape-shifting entity lurking in the sewers. Annie could be anyone. She could be your next door neighbor or even a distant relative, and that's what is so terrifying. Who knows what people are hiding behind a cheery facade? Maybe a sledgehammer. Coming in at 4, Margaret White from Carrie.
And then the girls, they all laughed at me and threw things at me.
And Eve was weak. Say it.
No, Mama.
Eve was weak.
No.
Eve was weak.
No.
Eve was weak. Say it.
No, Mama.
Now, for some who don't quite understand the abusive undertones, well, overtones in my opinion, Carrie would seemingly look like the villain in the novel and 1976 film of the same name. I mean, she's a telekinetic girl who kills everyone at the high school prom. That's pretty damn evil, right? Wrong. Carrie is no villain, she is the victim. Aside from the bullies at Carrie's high school who pour pig's blood on her and pelt her with sanitary pads, her mother Margaret White is the true villain of the story. She evidently has some serious mental health issues and has devoted her life to being a Christian who believes everything is a sin, even sexual intercourse, including within marriage. Now, Margaret does have love for Carrie, but that love becomes warped due to her bizarre perspective on reality, which oftentimes results in wild fits, rants and tantrums, particularly during times when she catches Carrie doing something that she deems sinful, which is essentially anything that isn't to do with the Bible. Carrie's punishment is reading passages from the Bible or being beaten with the Bible. Margaret even sometimes locks her inside of a small closet filled with religious icons so she can pray for forgiveness. Quite literally, from the time Carrie was born, Margaret has made her life a living hell, while making Carrie believe that she is unfit for the world she's living in, making her an easy target for bullies. Margaret, upon discovering Carrie's telekinetic powers, considered her to be a Satanist and brutally punishes her. Now, like our previous number, what makes Margaret so damn terrifying is that she's simply a middle-aged woman in Maine, meaning that a monster could literally be hiding behind any door. Coming in at 3, Mrs. Massey from The Shining. Lorraine Massey is an eternal guest at the Overlook Hotel and is perhaps the most recognizable spirit in the film adaptation of The Shining. She is the ghost that resides in room 217 or 237 depending depending on which medium you're meeting her through. On first appearance, she is beautiful, but quickly reveals herself to be a vile, decomposing creature who has nothing but bad intentions for the poor soul who enters her room. For context, Lorraine was known to seduce young bellboys into her room where they would engage in sexual acts. However, one day when she was full of self-disgust, she committed suicide by cutting her wrists in the bath. Now, why she has so much hatred towards guests is beyond me, but what is made clear to us is that she wants to bring pain and misery upon all visitors to her suite. Stephen King has created some truly vile and terrifying monsters in literature, but Mrs. Massey is by far one of the scariest simply because she is a mouldy, naked corpse who refuses to stop haunting you, even if you're a 5-year-old boy. No one is safe. Coming in at number 2, Randall Flagg from the Dark Tower series. Randall Flagg is so terrifying. He has appeared in 7 novels by Stephen King, with his first appearance coming to us in The Stand as a demonic figure who wreaks havoc after a plague kills most of the population. Now, his character backstory is incredibly dark, with Randall being given to a mill owner and his wife to be brought up to learn the ways of men. At the age of 13, he grew bored and burned down his home before being raped by a wanderer. However, instead of returning home, he sought to fulfill his destiny instead. He learned the ways of dark magic and became an incredibly powerful sorcerer and to some extent a demon with quasi-immortality. Randall's goals typically center on bringing down civilizations, usually through spreading destruction and sowing conflict. He brings pain, he brings death, he even brings mutilation. Like our number 1, he is evil incarnate, with no goal other than evil itself. Now, what makes this dude terrifying is that he's resilient. Once he gets a goal, he sticks with it, thus lingering around for 7 books. That's quite an accomplishment. Plus, on top of that, he frequently aligns himself with our number 1, and anyone who attempts to take him down usually ends up wishing they had died on the journey to him. And finally, coming in at number 1, the Crimson King from the Dark Tower series. I mean, the Crimson King is literally the eater of worlds. Of course he's going to nab our number 1 spot on this list, although I will say it was very, very close. He's a monster who is as close to the collective depiction of the devil as you can possibly get with a character. And that's not just in his appearance, but his entire sense of self. The Crimson King is a powerful immortal being whose characteristics mirror both the physical realm as well as the nature of the Prim. The Prim being the darkness behind everything. Now, interestingly, he is believed to be the same species as Pennywise, some even going as far as to believe Pennywise is his son. I'm not buying this one though, because the Crimson King is a whole other level of evil. He is the controlling power behind some of Stephen King's most terrifying villains, including Mr. Munchin, Dandelo, and our previous number, Randall Flagg. Now, his history is convoluted, but simply put, he was the bastard offspring of Arthur Eld, a legendary gunslinger, and a demonic entity, the Crimson Queen. At some point, the Crimson King gained the hierarchy of the Red and had a plot to topple the Dark Tower and destroy the reality it holds so that he can rule in the primordial chaos. Yeah, this dude is evil incarnate with one goal: to bring misery and death to all. Wow. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with that list? Were there any scary Stephen King monsters that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from some of my last videos. Young Kid said, "I love this, even though I know you don't care about my comment, but worth commenting though." We care about all of your comments. It's always worth commenting. We see you. Nemo6492 said, "Yeah buddy, lovely McPhee doing one of my favourite states." Yeah buddy. Freeway King said, "At 30 seconds you glitch out lol. Top 5 glitches talking lol. It's because I'm an android. Can confirm." Rayford Presley said, "Yay, it's Lucy. Sorry Jack, you're cool as f too, but yay Lucy. Yay Lucy. I am the best. We all know it's fine. You can admit it. I am the best." And on that competitive note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary bit. And until next time, see you later.